All right, guys, I am back, your 49er reporter here with the post-game analysis as it pertains to the game we just had against the Bengals. Get the regular stuff out of the way. If you like and subscribe, you know what I'm saying, it'd be greatly appreciated. I'm always giving to you straight, no chaser. And these are my opinions, and my opinions usually are fairly correct. So, with that being said, let's get right into it. First things first, another W, baby. Another W. The 41-17. Technically speaking, we had one touchdown called back again because of a penalty on the offense. So it technically should have been 48-17. But not going to stress that we put up a 40 burger on these Bengals. Now, you know what kills me is the fact that all of these commentators had us losing. Everybody, oh, look at what Andy Dalton did. You know, he looks so great, and he's this, and he's that, and he has all this other stuff going, and, you know, the 49ers' poorest offensive line, and this, that, and the third. Now, no, didn't happen this game because, technically speaking, the guys that we actually had to be worried about, which I mentioned in my previous video, Carlos Dunlap and his kid Hubbard and Drake Kirkpatrick, were relatively quiet this game. So, one thing that happened, unfortunately, and this is a heartbreaker for us guys, is the fact that we lost Joe Staley. Now, they say I'm not exactly sure what the issue is with Joe Staley. I'll go ahead and give you guys an update on that tomorrow, but they did say we're going to lose him for a significant amount of time. The guy that came in to replace Joe Staley was Justin Skule, the rookie that we drafted in, I believe, like the 6th or 7th round this year. So, most likely it'll be Skule and Brunskill that will kind of battle back and forth to see who's going to get the starting spot at left tackle. Next week we do have Pittsburgh. Now in Pittsburgh, good news, Ben Roethlisberger went down, and I believe he may not be able to go next week. So the beauty of it is, if we have a rookie in there, man, we can eat that dude alive. But let me go ahead and get into this game, man. So I was out there at varsity on Mill with my Niner fam and the whole Niner gang and the Niner faithful, man, and we was happy when we won. We were happy when we had great plays, upset when we had penalties and when we let them score. But to be honest with you, man, that's 17 points 2 weeks in a row. And this week is actually the week that the 49ers defense technically actually gave up 17 points because it was all on the defense. Last week we technically only gave up 10 because that pick six was on Jimmy. So, looking at everything just from a numbers standpoint, Jimmy Garoppolo had like 168 yards last week. This week, Jimmy Garoppolo has 297 yards. He averaged 11.9 yards per throw. He had 3 TDs and 1 interception, which did not get returned for a touchdown. So that's actually awesome. And then another guy throws the ball, who we haven't seen much of, Dante Pettis. He hit Deebo Samuel for a 16-yard pass. Now, the biggest thing that we did today was our run game. Oh my God. We had a total of 259 yards with mostly Matt Breida, Raheem Mostert, and Jeff Wilson Jr. Now, Jeff Wilson Jr. had the TDs because Jeff just banged those TDs in there, man. He just went hard. And Matt Breida had the yards. He had 12 carries for 121 yards. He averaged 10 yards a carry. That's ridiculous. So, Raheem come in, 13 carries for 83 yards, averaging 6.4. Now, I know everybody would look at Jeff Wilson and go, man, he only averaged 3 yards a carry? Who gives 2 shits? He had 2 touchdowns. Would you rather have touchdowns or high yardage? I'll take the touchdowns over high yardage any damn day. So, next up, we tried to hit Deebo on a couple of those end rounds, but I think people have been watching the preseason and they were ready for it. So, as far as our receiving goes, Deebo Samuel had a coming out party, man. 5 catches, 87 yards, 17.4 yards per catch, 1 TD. Keys, 3 for 77, 25.7 yards per catch, 1 TD. Raheem Mostert, 3 for 68, 22.7 yards per catch, 1 touchdown. George Kittle, 3 for 54. He had 54 yards last week as well. I think it's going to be his number. 18 yards per catch. We just went out there and just demolished them, man. We did exactly what the hell we were supposed to do. Now, when it comes down to the defensive side of the ball, Dee Ford kind of sat out pretty much most of the second half. He was relatively quiet. You didn't see much of him. You saw Nick Bosa sparingly, and I think it's because of that high ankle sprain. There was no sign of Jason Verrett on the field at any point during this game, so I'm assuming they're probably just going to let him rest up, and they'll most likely play him either against the Steelers or after the bye week on Monday night against the Browns. But right now, man, we firing on all cylinders. Defense was spectacular, as it always is. I know we gave up 17 points, but the last touchdown that we gave up, that was pretty much mostly a gimme because John Ross got behind the defense. If y'all watched my last video, I said if he gets behind us, he's out of there. K'Wan dove at his feet to try to get him, and he made him stumble, but we just didn't have anybody right there to be able to tackle him. So on defense, you know what I'm saying, we had, once again, guy leading us with tackles, Fred Warner. 7 tackles. He had a tackle for a loss, and then we went ahead and we sacked Andy Dalton 4 different times. And once again, this was 4 different players. Defoe got his first sack of the season. Gotta love that. Ronald Blair had a sack. Eric Armstead had a sack, and Solomon Thomas got a sack. So that means, you know what I'm saying, our defense, we rotate our guys in and out. And basically what this kind of reminds me of is the Giants, when they were rotating guys in and out, and you basically had starters sitting on the bench waiting to come in and just wreak havoc, and then when you took them off, you put the actual starters in. Like, it's great, man. We look so great, and we did have a pick this game. Quan Alexander, he went up there, he got the ball, made sure he got that. We only got 3 points off of that turnover, but still 3 points is better than nothing. Robbie Gould went ahead and he was 2 for 3 on the field, on field goals. It was kind of unfortunate because he missed one. He just hooked it a little bit, but I think there might have been some wind out there in Cincinnati because every time they kicked it, it kind of shifted to one side. So, you know what I'm saying, Mitch Wish, he only had to punt twice, and he punted 2 times for 75 yards. That's an average of 37.5 yards, and he got one right. I mean, he hung that motherfucker up there so long. We literally got the ball at the 2, So it was just a beautiful thing. We basically shut them down as far as, the run game was concerned. So they literally had a total rushing of 25 yards. It's pretty crappy. We shut down Mixon, we shut down Giovanni Bernard. Andy Dalton had the 2 touchdowns and 1 pick. He did have 311 yards. And, of course, he wound up hitting Tyler Eifert, who I didn't expect really to do much of anything because he's never on the field. I completely forgot this dude was healthy. So he caught a touchdown early in the game. And then in the fourth quarter, that's that gimme that I was talking about. He hit John Ross, and Ross took off and scored the touchdown. But basically, we kept it clean. Jimmy G didn't get sacked at all. He was pressured a couple of times, but he didn't get sacked. They only had 2 passes defense, while we had 8 passes defense. We had 9 tackles for a loss. I mean, people, we went out there and we did the damn thing. So if this is any indication of what we're going to look like, throughout the year, this is great. Week 4 is when we should have a couple guys back, as far as Trent Taylor, Jalen Hurd, Tevin Coleman, a few of those guys. The thing I'm worried about is are we going to really be able to stash Jeff Wilson Jr. on that practice squad, man? Because if we have to demote him, to bring Tevin Coleman back, I don't know how long he's going to last on that practice squad. I'm sure teams are watching and going, this dude's a banger. We might need to pick this cat up. And the running back spot is devalued, and he comes at a very cheap price. So you got to think about that. But the loss of Joe Staley is a big one because that's a Hall of Fame left tackle. You don't just let guys like that go and then just replace them with somebody, that we decided to draft in the 6th or 7th round and think that everything's going to be okay until they get back. It's got to be a hard task for whoever that is. We do have T.J. Watt coming up when it comes to the Steelers. We got Myles Garrett coming off that edge when it comes to the Browns. So we got to be really careful these next couple of weeks. I heard a couple of people saying to go ahead and give Anthony Davis a call. Anthony Davis was drafted by us, and he never wound up playing after Harbaugh left. and he was a right tackle. So putting him over at left tackle would still be a little bit of a learning experience for him. But when he did play for us, he did a pretty good job. First season, he kind of had to get himself together with the holding and whatnot, but we did a fabulous job with him as far as at right tackle. So if anything, maybe it'll be a learning curve for him, but I don't think this guy wants to play football. I think he could care less. If he really wanted to play football, there's a bunch of teams that would have given him a shot based on his previous experience and how he played. But to be honest with you guys, we did what we needed to do, man. We shut down everybody. Carlos Dunlap was relatively quiet. Drake Kirkpatrick, relatively quiet. These guys weren't making the impact that they normally make. You know what I'm saying? I mean, just 2 tackles for a loss, that's nothing. I mean, we did what we had to do. We went out there, we smacked them in the mouth, we had them with that hard defense. And I have to say, I love it, man. I love it, and I think we're going to have a great year if we can continue in the right direction. Once again, losing Joe Staley was hard, man. And we got some Pro Bowlers coming off these edges these next couple of weeks when we go ahead and play. But I still think we should be able to get it done. I'm not saying that I'm giving up on the season, because that's definitely not it. I feel like we're going to continue to ride the wave and ride the defense and continue to do it. So, yeah, think about it, man. We generated another turnover. We're getting sacks. Like, we're making everything happen that we need to make happen. And I have no issue with what we're doing. We are doing fantastic. To come out here and put 41 up on Cincinnati, that's amazing. That's actually a really good score. That means that we did our job. For all those naysayers, all the commentators, 49ers can't win this game and we don't know what's going to happen and all this other stuff. What happened? We went out there and we whooped up on these boys. We put a 14 in the first, and we put a 10 in the second and the third, and then we put another 7 up in the fourth. I mean, there's nothing else that you can really tell us. We didn't do anything else that we did, that we did everything that could be done. The only thing we didn't do was score on special teams, and that's just because kickoffs are too far back, and, these punters are hanging the ball in the air so long, trying to return it is all but, lost. So, to me, to be honest with you, man, Jimmy G did what he needed to do. He's knocking the rust off, man. He looked a lot better. His accuracy was a whole lot better. He did have one pass where he could have actually hit Richie when he was already out of his break. He waited till Richie got fully out of the break to get the ball, and Richie had to wind up going out of bounds. Basically, when you see that DB is already behind him, he's not going to make up the ground, that ball needs to come out, so when Richie turns around, he's looking to catch it and turn upfield. But nonetheless, 17 out of 25 for 297 yards, averaging 11.9 yards per throw, 3 TDs, 1 interception, and a quarterback rating of 131.2. Yeah, I'll take it. I think I'm good. So Niner fam, once again, 41-17 was the final. We went out there, we beat up on these Bengals. Next week, we got to go ahead and get these Steelers. The defense looks like it's a little bit scared, and they don't look like they know what they're going to do. They might be playing with the backup quarterback, and if that's the case, we just got to prepare and eat them alive, man. We just got to do what we got to do, So stay Niner faithful, stay blessed. Y'all have a wonderful and amazing rest of the day, and I'm out.